So, I just got done watching Hawkeye episode 5 on Disney Plus, and whoa, this is, I don't even know how they do it. Like, every episode just keeps getting better than the last, and it's so impressive, and this episode it's doing it again. I mean, it's, like I said, every week it just keeps getting better. This is 100% my favorite MCU Disney Plus series, and especially with a couple reveals in this episode, moments I wasn't expecting, but obviously a lot of setup for next week's finale, season finale, or series finale. We don't even know for sure if it's getting a second season. We'll see. But of course, the big thing we gotta talk about is that ending. But that is spoilers. This is gonna be a big spoiler video, so I do want to give a quick spoiler warning. If you've not yet seen this episode, Hawkeye episode 5 on Disney Plus, titled Ronin. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so let's get into this. We start off the episode with something that I wasn't really expecting, but was expecting at the same time, because we get some backstory on Yelena Belova. Of course, Florence Pugh returned to the role in last week's episode when she showed up to fight Hawkeye and Kate, and of course she's returning from her appearance in the Black Widow movie from earlier this year. And so she has a very prominent role in this episode, and when we start off the episode, it's a flashback with her character, or a flash forward from the Black Widow movie, but a flashback from when we're currently in present day for the Hawkeye Disney Plus series. So it's 2018, of course, the year of Avengers Infinity War, and Yelena is off hunting down and curing the Black Widows, just as she kind of planned to do at the end of the Black Widow movie. So she's just traveling the world, basically saving all the widows, which I think is pretty cool, until, of course, because it is Avengers Infinity War taking place in the same time, she gets snapped. So the snap happens, she turns to dust, and then it feels like just 5 seconds for her, she blips back, but it's actually been a whole 5 years later, and of course the first thing she wants to do is find her sister Natasha and let her know that she's alright, but that's when she gets the news that Natasha's kind of dead, because, that's how everybody was brought back. And that does actually add a nice layer to it as well, because obviously, Natasha did that sacrifice for everyone, but specifically seeing that she also ended up saving her sister as well, I thought that was really cool too. And also harkening back to WandaVision, when we saw a very similar scene with Monica Rambeau when she got snapped as well. So yeah, that was a really nice scene to really kind of set the tone for the episode, so I really enjoyed that as our opener for Hawkeye episode 5. But then we transition to present day, where Kate is kind of recovering from the battle and kind of just the loss of her partner, Clint Barton, because he kind of severed ties with her because he wants to keep her safe. So she returns home to Eleanor and warns her once again of Jack, and actually says that she's found incriminating evidence of him, and you need to look into this. And I honestly didn't think she'd do it, but she actually does do it later on in the episode, and we see that when she later returns to the apartment, and all of a sudden the police are just taking Jack away. And this was something I wasn't expecting, because obviously I knew that Jack was just a red herring. They were making it look like he was the big villain here. But I knew it would be Eleanor behind it all, but I figured that maybe they were working together in some way. But no, Eleanor just full on framed Jack, and it was not even him at all. So I'll be interested to see if he returns next episode and what kind of role he plays, especially because in the comics he is a big character as the swordsman. So I'd be interested to see more of that character in the MCU. But actually, before Kate even returns to the apartment and sees Jack being taken away, she goes back to her own apartment, which we haven't seen since episode 2, because of course it was kind of burnt down and burnt to a crisp and everything. And when she returns there, she has a visitor waiting for her, and that is Yelena Belova. And I just love the scene. I love the relationship and just the conversation between Yelena and Kate, because as soon as I found out Yelena was going to be in the show, I knew that I wanted to see these two together. I mean, two of my celebrity crushes, Florence Pugh and Haley Steinfeld, what could be better than that? And their chemistry is amazing here, just watching this scene go down. Yelena is just so quirky and so fun, and she was one of the best parts of the Black Widow movie, so I love seeing her here in this episode. And also, she made macaroni and cheese, so that's great as well, talking about her love of hot sauce. And yeah, it was a really nice girls' night out, as she called it. And Of course, at one point during this conversation, she does bring up the fact that she's here to kill Clint Barton because he's responsible for her sister's death. And then Kate defends him and all this stuff. Meanwhile, we have Clint. He doesn't have anywhere else to go now because, like I said, he severed ties with Kate, so he's not going back to her aunt's apartment. So he checks in with Grills, of course, one of the LARPers, and he offers him to let him sleep on his couch. That's what's going to happen. We also get a really cool scene where Clint visits a Battle of New York memorial, where he turns off his hearing aid and talks to Nat and tells her he misses her and everything, and then says I'm sorry about what I'm about to do. And this is where things really take a step up in this episode. Because he shoots an arrow at the Tracksuit Mafia with a little message in it, so they open it up, and it basically tells them to meet him in that spot outside the Fat Man Auto Repair parking lot tonight, alone or whatever, and this is a message from Maya. So he suits up as Ronin once again, and I love this conversation between him and his wife Laura, and how she's fully okay with this, which has sparked some even more speculation that really kind of came to fruition last week, with everybody coming up with theories that possibly she was actually a former spy as well in the MCU, and maybe a former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, possibly even Mockingbird from the comics. I think that'd be really cool to see, but I don't know if they do that with only one episode left. We'll see though, because there's a lot they gotta pack into that episode. But yeah, like I said anyway, it's nighttime now. We're at the Fat Man Auto Repair parking lot, and Fat Man, oh yeah, we do. And it is basically Clint as Ronin, suited up as Ronin, and battling Maya, and they're fighting each other. And at one point, he actually basically defeats her, and he takes off his mask and reveals that it's Clint Barton, and threatens her about, you leave me and my family alone and all this stuff. And then I love this line right here where he says, "Wear weapons." That line right there is just so powerful. And then we get a big reveal because Clint reveals that Maya's boss is actually wanted her father dead and actually tipped off Clint Barton, Ronin, to kill him. So this is interesting because, of course, in the comics, Kingpin is the one who actually killed Maya's father. So when it was first revealed in episode 3, I think it was, that Ronin was the one responsible for his death, I was kind of disappointed that. Clint Barton was the one that killed him, but now they have this connection to Kingpin, and now also Kazi as well, which we'll talk about in a second. Because after we get that bombshell reveal, Maya kind of gets the upper hand, so then Kate appears and saves Clint, and they escape, so everything's good there. But then Maya has a conversation with Kazi post-fight, where she questions him, "Why were you not there during the meeting that night? You were in town, you should have been there. So where were you?" And he's just kind of dodging the questions, and you can tell that probably he's responsible for this, because he was second in command, so he actually had a lot to gain from that. So yeah, this could be setting up for not only stuff in next week's finale of Hawkeye, but possibly even the Echo spinoff, where I'd really like to see Kazi return as well, because in the comics he's a really interesting character as the Clown, such a crazy psychopathic assassin. So I'd love to see that version of the character, especially in the Echo series. But yeah, so definitely some interesting revelations there that I enjoyed getting revealed. But then the big one that we've all been waiting for is right here, as we start off this reveal with Yelena starting to follow Eleanor. And that's when she sends Kate Bishop a message, which, by the way, also something I forgot to notice. I love how Yelena keeps calling Kate Bishop, every time she says her name. So she sends a message to Kate saying she found out who hired her, Elanor Bishop. Now, this is interesting and confusing at the same time, because first of all, like I said, means that Eleanor is the villain. We all kind of predicted that. But it's also confusing because in the Black Widow post-credit scene, it was Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character of Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine that actually hired her. So how is Eleanor connected to this? Is it that Eleanor hired Valentina to hire Yelena? Or is it the other? I don't even know how it's connected, but I'm really excited to find out. But then she sends a photo of her with who Clint says quote, the guy I've been worried about this whole time, Kingpin. And then we see the photo right there, Vera Farmiga's Eleanor Bishop standing right next to Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, and oh, it is so good. He looks just like he did in the Daredevil series, except even more comics accurate. They didn't do like what a lot of scoopers were saying they were going to do and give him like a fat suit and everything, and I'm actually happy with that because that supposed leaked photo of him super fattened up just looked really weird, so I'm glad they didn't do that. But he looks just like he did in the Netflix series, except like I said, a little bit more comics accurate. He's got his classic tie, he's got his cane. Oh, it is so good. And even though it's literally just like a blurry photo, it's right there. Vincent D'Onofrio's back, and we know he's going to be having a big role in next week's episode in the finale, and hopefully he'll have a big role in the Echo series as well, especially because since he's the one really responsible for her father's death. And just hearing Clint Barton say the name Kingpin, he doesn't even say, like, even if he said Wilson Fisk, I would have been cool with that, but the fact that he says Kingpin, that is just it right there, because he's the kingpin of crime in New York City, and just like hearing all these people, even including Laura Barton talking about this guy as like, yeah, he's the real deal, like this is a big threat, like, oh, it just gets me so excited. And even though we don't get a post-credit scene actually seeing Vincent D'Onofrio talking or doing anything as Kingpin, they do honestly the next best thing, because then as soon as they have that photo pop up on screen of Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin standing next to Eleanor Bishop, then it transitions right into the credits where it starts playing You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, and oh, that is literally just the perfect song, because first of all, it's a Christmas show, so it's a Christmas song, and also like just the lyrics are literally all about like you're a mean one, Mr. Grinch, and literally saying like how terrible the Grinch is and everything, and like you've got termites in your smile. Honestly, great song. I actually just watched the Grinch the other day, all three of them, yeah, it's just so perfect for this, because again, you've been having these hints and teases of this mysterious big man character throughout this series so far, and about how truly bad and evil this guy is. So I just think this song pairs so well with it. And then what's even better is when we end it off, at least with the cool, colorful, artsy credits there, is that it ends off by flashing up the Hawkeye logo with the silhouette / shadow of the Kingpin right above, and oh, it is just so beautiful to see, because ladies and gentlemen, the Kingpin is back the same week that we hopefully, fingers crossed, are also getting the return of Charlie Cox as Daredevil in Spider-Man No Way Home, and possibly Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and getting all that other beautiful stuff, and possibly our first look at Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. This is a great week right here, and we're just getting started with Kingpin right here, and oh wow. It's just awesome. I'm so excited, guys. Again, like you don't think it'd be a big deal. It's literally just Hawkeye saying the word Kingpin and then seeing a blurry photo, but still, it is a big deal, and I'm so excited for this. But guys, what did you think about this episode? What did you think about the official reveal of Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin? Were you a doubter? I bet you're probably pretty happy you were wrong, though. And of course, like I said, next week's episode is the finale. So, of course, let me know all your final predictions. I'm going to need those in the comments below. And for now, guys, stay tuned for more Hawkeye content this week. And, whatever other videos I do. Of course, Spider-Man No Way Home. We got that coming. But anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video. And hit the subscribe button so I can keep you up to date on everything that goes on in the Marvel life.